John from theproductivegarden.com, and what I'm going to be doing today is to be sealing my top bar beehive that I've built. If you haven't seen the building of that, it is a long video, but there's a link to it down below, and I'll also put a link to it up on this video somewhere. Yeah, so I've just recently built a top bar beehive, and now it has to be sealed against the weather and elements and all that sort of thing. So let's have a look at what I'm doing to achieve that. Okay, now to seal the beehive, I'm going to be using a combination of beeswax and linseed oil. Now what you want is raw linseed oil. Don't get boiled linseed oil because it can have some pretty bad stuff in there that they use for whatever reason. So yeah, raw linseed oil is what you want. So the way we combine these two is we have a pot here sitting inside a pot of water. So you don't want to have it directly on the heat, you want it inside a pot of water. So I'll put the wax in there. I'll actually put this on the tripod so I can do things with two hands. There we go. Okay, so we've got the wax melting there. So what we'll do now is we'll add a litre of linseed oil. Now it says 50 mils of beeswax to a litre of linseed oil. I can't measure that block exactly, but I reckon that's pretty close to 50 mils. Now I'll put a litre of linseed oil in. Okay, there's half a litre. I'll put that in. And you can see that little dry film on top, because this isn't as hot as what the pot was. When it's lifted the wax up, the wax is solidified because the oil's still fairly cool. So we'll put another litre in. There we go. So there's a litre of linseed oil in there. Okay, now that we have the linseed oil and the beeswax in there, got the beeswax slowly melting down as the linseed oil heats up. Okay, now that we've got that in there, we're just going to leave this to melt all the beeswax, and then we'll mix them together. And we want them, once all the beeswax is melted, we want to be having this sitting in the water with the water boiling for approximately 10 minutes. So we'll leave this to melt and boil, and then we'll come back and see the final product. That's just a little bit of wax that fell down before, so I'll stick that in there as well. Okay, so we'll come back when this is all done, and then talk about sealing the beehive itself. Alright, so that's the 10 minutes, and this has been well and truly going for that time. So what I need to do now is to just give it a stir, and I've been stirring it throughout that 10 minutes. Just need to stir it just to keep everything mixing together. And then now I'll turn the heat off and I'll let this cool down. Might let it cool down before I lift it out of the water, and then I'll just let it cool down near where I'm going to be doing the sealing, and we'll come back when I'm ready to do that. So give us a little while to cool down, and then yeah, we'll come back and get this beehive all sealed. Alright, now this wax isn't too bad for coolness now. I'm going to start putting on. Now you don't want it to wait for it to be totally cold. You want it sort of on the way it's been described to me is on the warm side of, or the hot side of warm. So it's still definitely on the hot side. Now I'm going to use a sponge to put this on. You could use a sponge or a brush or a lint-free rag or anything like that, but a sponge is what I'm choosing. And I'll start with putting it on the roof. So when you put it on, simply just paying it on like that. I think be pretty generous with this. The wood is going to soak a fair bit up, so yeah, don't be too stingy with it. Just slap this stuff on, and yeah, be generous. What you want to do, get all the ends of the grains. So obviously on the roof, you're going to be wanting to get all these bits as well. So just make sure you get all those exterior parts so that they're all nice and sealed and waterproof. Alright, now I'll get onto this, and then we'll see how this goes at the end. I think this will probably take 2 coats, perhaps 3. So anyway, I'll keep putting this on, and when I get to the end, I'll come and show you what I'm doing to cover this bit over here. Alright, so we've got 1 coat on now. You can see the outside there, it's a reasonably dark sort of colour, and you can see the inside. You can see particularly where's a better bit, where it's just seeped over the edge a bit, and then you can see the inside of the beehive where it's not sealed at all. You can just see the difference in the colour. So this oil and wax really soaks in. I'm going to get a 2nd coat on here now, and that should see this pretty much done for now. I have given it a fair good first coat, and it's had about half an hour or so to dry now. So I'm going to give it another coat, and yeah, that should see it finished. And I just have to put the little bit of metal to seal the gable on the roof, and then we'll be ready to go. So here's the roof here. You can see just the colour that is after having the oil and wax mixture put on it. Okay, so I'll get my 2nd coat on now, and then we'll put the strip of metal along the top and seal that gable up. Okay, now with all of the top bar hive sealed, then now it's time to put this metal stripping onto the roof. But before I do that, just something I want to mention just with the sealing of it. The reason I've only sealed the outside, not the inside, is that the bees will seal the hive themselves the way they want to with propolis. So rather than go through all the effort, I'll just let the bees do their thing. They will seal the beehive the way they want it sealed, and yeah, hopefully they'll be happy with what they've got here. Anyway, so this sheeting here, this is aluminium sheeting, comes in a roll like this, so it'll obviously be much better than lead sheeting, which will obviously oxidize and put lead contamination into the beehive and possibly into the honey as well. So all I'm going to do is just push it down, line it up with the end, and I'll use the screws that are already in here to start to fix it down. And basically I've cut it close to length, but when I get it all fastened down, I will just trim off the end here, and we should be right. I might maybe, like, if I can't get it really close, I might just have to like bash it with a hammer just to curve it over a bit. And I think that'll be fine. Anyway, I'll get on and fix this down, and then we'll be all done. This beehive, other than getting bees in there, will be operational. So I'll get this fixed down, and then we'll just get it all finished off. Alright, so there you go. That's the metal strip on top of the hive there. So it's all nice and fixed, so we won't be getting any water going through there from rainfall or anything like that. So that's pretty much it. The hive is operational now. It's ready for bees to go in there. All I need is some bees. But anyway, just one thing I didn't show in the making of it was how I've plugged up the entrance. Now I've got these corks. They're just corks. I got these from a home brewing shop, and they were there's a pack of about 30 of them for about $6 or $7. So they're pretty cheap. Even if you had some from wine bottles, I mean, wine bottles don't seem to have corks very often these days. They got these new twist screw-on tops. Yeah, but at first, when I put bees in here, I'll have these 3 entrances open. I've got another cork to put in the middle one, just until I get bees in there. I mean, I might leave the middle one open just in case a swarm does find it and decide to stay there. but I don't really want like bees or anything like that getting in there and taking up residence. It's not the point of it. So once I do get a swarm in there, I'll have these 3 open, so they've got plenty of room to come in and out, and until the hive gets bigger, I'll have these 2 end ones closed. The reason for that is I'm going to have the guide boards will be sort of here somewhere, and this end part won't be being used for a while. And there is a possibility if I catch a swarm, I can always put it in the end of the hive here and then open that hole to allow them to go in and out of that end part there. But until then, yeah, it'll just stay closed. So that's it. That's the hive all done. Now all I need to do is, like I said, get some bees. Alright, so that's it. That's the beehive sealed and all finished up, like I said, ready to go. It wasn't real hard to do. The mix is pretty easy. It just takes a little while to melt the wax into the linseed oil for it to get up to temperature, and putting it on, it soaked into the wood pretty well. And yeah, like I said, it was really the easiest part of making the beehive was the sealing of it. And that strip of aluminium should do pretty well to keep the moisture out of the beehive. Anyway, that's it for now, and until next time, happy productive gardening. Bye.